Lovely. Well, we're in a very good mood. We just had the highest poll numbers I've ever had. Ever. And actually a record for a Republican. Now, I don't know about, have they checked the Democrats too? But we have a record so far for a Republican. Now, it's 4 weeks. We have a lot of weeks to go. We want to finish that way, right? But I just wanted to thank everybody because you've been really amazing. The job you've done is...
You would think, because Elon Musk was seemingly incredibly high at CPAC today, that no one could give a stranger speech in the conservative world than him. But no, Donald Trump stepped in at the Republican governor's meeting tonight, and he outdid himself with one of the stranger speeches bouncing around from topic to topic, so much so that he even got laughed at one point for what he said by a room full of Republicans because it was so stupid and ridiculous and actually pretty concerning and dangerous, but we are going to get into that. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now let's start off this speech where Donald Trump did attacking journalists.
We have a fight with one news organization, AP, a radical left organization, treats us all very badly, and they refuse to acknowledge that the Gulf, former of Mexico, is now called the Gulf of America. So we just hold them. We're holding them out of any news conferences. Right now, I'm sure they'll get sued, and maybe they'll win. Doesn't matter. It's just something that we feel strongly about. No, and I said we changed Mount McKinley. Nobody's fighting that. You're allowed to do it. Well, we're allowed to do, and most of the shoreline is, 85% of it is on our soil. But I thought it would be appropriate. I never understood quite the Gulf of Mexico when it really covers us far more. And I think Doug is a big believer in what we did, the Gulf of America. So we're having a little dispute, but only one. But Google Maps has already changed. Almost everybody's already changed. It's called the Gulf of America.
Yes, the free speech party on its crusade to jail journalists. We saw Elon Musk, the same guy who said that everyone who works for 60 Minutes should have a long prison sentence, whatever that means, conceivably. To say that they're going to legalize comedy. The Republican Party that's banning journalists from the White House is going to legalize comedy because they've already done such a great job with journalism and they love speech so much. But just such a ridiculous rant from Donald Trump. And again, like I said, he was bouncing around from topic to topic. He had to bring up his other gripe. Actually, a couple of his other gripes. But the first one was the Panama Canal.
I want to know the truth. But we're gonna see about that. We're looking at Greenland. And we have to take back the Panama Canal because that wasn't the deal. We gave the Panama Canal to Panama. It was the most expensive thing ever built in our country. It would be the equivalent of $2 trillion today. We spend massive amounts. We lost 38,000 lives from the mosquito and snakes. A lot of bad snake bites, but mostly the mosquitoes, malaria. They killed 38,000 of our people. They paid laborers 5 times what they were getting in the United States to go, knowing that there was a good chance they were going to die. 20% of them died. And Jimmy Carter, may he rest in peace, the late, great Jimmy Carter, gave it away for $1. It's also the most profitable thing ever built. It's what you hear about casinos and you hear about all the stuff. They're peanuts compared to this. It's the most profitable thing ever built. There's never been anything. I mean, you have ships lined up. And by the way, when they gave it away like a bunch of dummies.
He doesn't really seem to understand much. It's mostly just grievance and I guess a projection of strength because he's going to be taking something away. But you can see like the bad businessman and Donald Trump revealed when he's like, it's the greatest business. There's never been a better business. And it's just like, but he doesn't articulate what I guess, shipping and taxes going through, but like, he just doesn't articulate what. It's the thing that I always say. It's like Republicans talk about how much they love Trump policy. right? They say, oh, we can put up with the anger and the hate, the thing that they actually like because of his policy, although he's never articulated a single policy thought before. And if you want to talk about his economic record, he crashed that in the first term. We're seeing inflation jump already, massive layoffs. I don't know. Doesn't seem like an economic genius to me. All he's good at is yelling, and that's not great. Just listen to more yelling right here.
Etc. And they get 95% of their product from the United States. I think they have to become the 51st state. And you heard the people booing the national anthem, but I think ultimately they'll be praising the national anthem. We'll have to work out some deal with it, because I do like the "O Canada," right? It's a beautiful thing. I think we're going to have to keep it for the 51st state. I call him Governor Trudeau. I said, Governor Trudeau's doing a wonderful job. I think it's actually cost him his election, if you want to know the truth. But we're gonna see about that. We're looking at Greenland, and we have to take back the Panama Canal, because that wasn't the deal. We gave the Panama Canal to...
He knows things are bad, and he knows he has to distract you. That's why he's doing the Canada bit. That's why he's doing the Panama Now bit. That's why he's doing a bit that we'll see about bacon in just a second, but this is all a distraction, and I think the main distraction is one that Steve Bannon brought up today, and Donald Trump is now reinforcing as well. Whether it's because it's a distraction or because he legitimately wants to, it's running for a third term.
In 3 weeks, can you believe that? 6. So we've got that money, and I got to spend it somewhere, and they tell me I'm not allowed to run. I'm not sure. Is that true? I'm not sure. So if I can't spend it on me, I guess that means I'm going to be spending it on some of my friends, right? A lot of my friends.
Now I know that a Republican in the House has already introduced a bill to allow Donald Trump to run for a third term. And I know that Republicans didn't stand up to him after an insurrection. They didn't stand up to him after the January 6th pardons. They're not going to stand up to him as he rips the Constitution up. But I think they do think it's a pretty ridiculous idea that he'd run for a third term. What's sad is, I think they believe it's so ridiculous and are laughing at the concept, because you heard them laugh only because it's not in their best interest, only because Republicans want to make sure that they can run for president. It's not about the Constitution, as always. Always. It is about their political future. That's what they seem to care about above all else. That's why they're laughing. That's why they don't want them to do it again. Nothing to do with the Constitution, the rule of law, respecting those founding fathers. They always talk about so their own self-interest. It's really what it's all about, because if they actually did care about real issues or the constituents, they would be pushing back on this live from Donald Trump.
It's going to be. Thanks a lot, Chris. Good. Go out there. If we can bring energy down, everything's coming down. You know, the eggs are coming down and the bacon's coming down. Everything is coming down, and that's the biggest thing, the energy. So those two guys are very important.
Do you know what would be better than lying about how energy is going to make eggs cheaper, combating the bird? FLW, stopping tariffs. Why do you think costs are going up? You're tariffing. Everything are. Our trading partners are cutting us off, and as you already said, you don't care. So dummy, just stop with the tariffs and then leave, because you're not good at the economy thing. I know that's your whole shtick, but you don't have anything to back it up. It's just getting bad, and especially for your supporters who are starting to turn on you, which makes this statement so ridiculous.
I think so far we're very popular. I had an approval rating today of 71 and another one of 69. I have not heard of those numbers before.
71% approval rating. The recent polling I saw had Donald Trump down 6 points from Inauguration Day, which is a pretty speedy decline even for him. But this is the type of, dictator propaganda that he loves, even both dulling out and receiving. And it's the reason why he's talking about maybe running for a third term, because he thinks he's the greatest thing in the world. He thinks he can do no wrong. Even though doing wrong is all he's doing. That's it. He just wants to yell and attack his political enemies and install those who are going to help him do it. And that's why the recent confirmation of Kash Patel is so terrifying. Because talk about a person who would go along with anything Trump wants. And that is exactly what Mark Elias and Nicole Wallace were talking about. And a clip I definitely want to check out right here.
Sure would do his bidding. Trump has had a history of clashing with his FBI directors. He famously fired Jim Comey after Comey refused to drop an investigation into Donald Trump's then National Security Advisor, Mike Flynn. And Christopher Wray, the man he appointed as Comey's successor, tried to stay out of the fray, but ultimately resigned last month when Donald Trump made clear he wanted something different out of his FBI director. Which brings us to today, where Kash Patel, a very vocal critic of the FBI he now leads, is in charge. Patel ushering in a new era for the FBI, an agency that has been filled with turmoil since Trump took office for the second time. It brings with him an obsession with retribution and revenge. His so-called enemies list of over 60 individuals. He wrote this list up in his own book. He says he believes they are part of the deep state, just being one illustration of his commitment to revenge. Yesterday, Senator Chris Murphy had strong words for his Republican colleagues who voted for him to put this man in charge of the nation's preeminent intelligence and security agency.
You're going to put at the head of the FBI, the agency that can arrest anyone they want, put people in jail, a man who thinks that anyone who disagrees with Donald Trump politically is an enemy of the United States. The law loses all meaning when it becomes simply what the president, what the leader on any given day decides. This is the worst possible moment to put a person like Kash Patel in charge of the FBI. My prediction is that if you vote for Kash Patel, more than any other confirmation vote you make, you will come to regret this one to your grave.
It's where we start the hour with some of our favorite reporters and friends. Voting rights attorney Mark Elias is here. He's the founder of Democracy Docket. New York Times investigative reporter, MSNBC national security contributor Mike Schmidt is back with us. Mark Elias, you are a named and engaged perceived political enemy of Donald Trump's, of Elon Musk's, of the entire sort of cast of characters. And I wonder your thoughts today as Kash Patel becomes confirmed as the director of the FBI.
Donald Trump got the triumvirate that he wanted. You know, he got Kash Patel at the FBI, he got Pam Bondi, an election denier, and also a sycophant of Donald Trump's at the Department of Justice. And of course, he got Pete Hegseth at the Department of Defense. Now, for good measure, he also got Tulsi Gabbard at the Director of National Intelligence. But what Donald Trump has wanted from the beginning is to be able to weaponize government to go after his political opponents. He talked about retribution before the election. He talked about revenge. He talked about being a dictator. Just the other day, they put out an executive order saying the only two people in the executive branch who have the power to interpret the law are the President of the United States and the Attorney General. So we are in very, very dangerous waters right now, and we will see political prosecutions. We will see political investigations. And it is vitally important, and is my plea to everyone, that when we see them, we do not assume that they are business as usual. We do not assume that the Department of Justice or the FBI has a good reason for doing what it's doing. We have to assume that they have a bad reason when they are targeting Democrats or they're targeting other people, including Republicans, who they view as political enemies.
There has been a lot of conversation about whether or not we should only be reacting to what Donald Trump says or what he does. But when his most insane statements line up pretty nicely with the type of actions he's taking, I think we need to care about the statements. When he says, "Long live the king," and he's trying to consolidate power in the federal government, I I think we need to take that seriously. He wants to be a king. He wants to be president for life. We need to take that seriously and respond. And is what we're going to be doing on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. You can leave a like on this video. And if you stuck around at the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. Till next time, I'll see you soon.